Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be having a look at a quick flip through of my 2025 bullet journal. So let's get into it. So we have this bullet journal from Paper Suteca and it retails for £16 at the moment. The full price is £22 and it's 160 pages. It's also got really good quality 160 GSM paper. And the one that I went for is this white cover with the mochi and clouds on the front. They did have a pink cover, but as of recording this video, they no longer have the pink cover, so it's just this white cover journal that's available. And it comes with this elastic, a pen loop, which I've put a pen inside, and then it's just got the Paper Suteca gold foiling on the back. On the inside, what I've done is I've added all these sticky notes, which is from a brand called Paperian, and this is just a list of all the different things I generally use bullet journaling for, and then I've got spaces to add some more things. Over here, I've just added a name page, so I've used a decal from an Etsy store, which I will also link down below, and it's a nice sort of teal shimmery colour. I'm not sure if it's coming across on camera, but it is a really nice turquoise colour. And then I've just added the line this bullet journal belongs to, and then washi tape from the washitapeshop.com. Again, I will link that down below because they have some amazing like sticker washi tapes and just general sort of chunky washi tapes and smaller washi tape collections, and they're all just really pretty. Next we have the contents page. So I've made a contents section just so I can list everything out. I can see what's on what page, so I've got the title, topic, page number, and I've added quite a bit already before the start of 2025 because I want to have the front section be the kind of reference point for the whole journal. So we've got things like calendars, tending lists, and all sorts of useful bits and pieces. And then I've got space to add more things as I go along. Then we come to the permission slip. This is just something fun that I added, and I've downloaded it from lovelaurel.co, and if you're interested, definitely check out Laurel's blog. She has this available as a subscription download, and she also has a lot of cool like creator related blog posts. I downloaded this, filled it in September just to give myself sort of that much needed permission, because as someone who overthinks and who's very much a type A personality, it's just something nice to see, to be like, okay, I give myself permission to dream big, blog, create, coach, teach, have fun, anything that I'm kind of stuck in my head about. And it's just nice to have that reminder. And then just a bit of fun at the bottom, you just sign it and date it. Then this is something I downloaded from Etsy. It's just a really fun printable of a vista like scenario. It's just a fun printable of a landscape. I think this is just like a generic scene, but I imagine it to be somewhere like Paris or Belgium, somewhere really sort of fancy where you have these nice outdoor coffee shops, and it's just a little bit of creative fun and a bit of novelty for the journal. Then I've got my annual mood board. I don't really vary this that much from sort of year to year because the general things that I like don't tend to change. Like I like having a tidy office, I like using candles, I like having a sort of fairly small capsule wardrobe. I love flowers, I love my Korean dramas with all the blossoms. I like the idea of having like a big house, having a nice kitchen with a sort of marble island, and I love coffee shop vibes of being able to sit in a coffee shop with a nice hot drink and read a book. Exercise, not just for the vanity but also for feeling strong, and then painting my nails and having fresh fruit. So that's just a general mood board. I may do a specific one for the quarter as we go through the year, but we'll see. Then we've got this at a glance sort of year on one page calendar, so you can just see all the months, all the different days, what day of the week a different date falls on, and it's just useful to have as a reference. This is from Jashi Corinne's YouTube channel where she has a resource library, and it's free to join. I will try and link it down below because I downloaded this printable and then I just added the colour just to give it something to make it pop, but this is really useful. Then I've got this sort of habit tracking page which I downloaded from digitalhiga.com. Again, I will link them down below. They've got a lot of free printables and trackers and things which are actually quite cool. This one is 2025 in pixels, and you can use it for anything. I've just chosen to use this as a feelings tracker. So I've got everything from angry, grateful, all the way through to like excited, stressed, and I've just picked the colours that I like. And I'm kind of excited to see how this will look as we sort of go through the year, because I like that kind of Tetris look of all the different blocks and different colours. So that's quite cool. I'm quite excited to see how it turns out. This is more of a reference, so I'm planning on using this to inform my journaling. So when I start my journal for my morning page, I tend to write a quick sentence, something along the lines of I feel this, or I feel like this because of X. And I like to just label what I'm feeling and sort of how I'm feeling it in my body, and really bring attention to what is going on with my emotions. So this just helps to be able to label it as accurately as I can. And then when it comes to this is more like the overriding emotion for the day. So where I might feel happy, sad, stressed, or bored, I will just pick the one emotion that felt sort of the most dominant, and that will kind of inform this tracker. So that's all this feelings work. Then we've got this fun washi tape sampler page, and these are all the washi tapes I use regularly. Things where I use it to decorate bullet journal spreads, I use it in my journal, I use it for decorating birthday cards, envelopes, but it's just so that I remember these are the ones that I'm using regularly. And I'm about to sort of run out of these two, but I've still stuck them in there because in case I can find something similar to those in future. And these are all from everyminuteastory.com. Again, I will link them down below, so be sure to check that out, because they have a lot of cool washi tape stickers, and they do also have a lot of regular sales. Next, we've got a list of all the books I'm currently reading. So I've got a lot of different self-help and development books on my bookshelf, but these are the sort of 10-12 books that I'm reading at the moment, not at the same time. I'm sort of working through 2 or 3 at a time, and this is just so that I can come back and be like, okay, if I finish the first 2, what am I reading next? What can I read next? And so on, just to give me something as a hook. And at the time of filming this, it's the end of October 2024. So hopefully I'll have the first 2 finished by December, and then work on these. I might leave them there, or I might shift this list up and then add the next few from my bookshelf, but we shall see how the year goes. Then we get into 2025 at a glance. I've added a tab here. I can't remember exactly where I got this from, but if I find it, I will link it down below, because these are sticky tabs. So they come as stickers, you just fold them over, and then I just write whatever I want along the heading, and it's useful to have that as a placeholder. But this is just my at a glance, so I can see what's happening throughout the month, because the previous calendar is just the dates. You can see what day they fall on. This is less about the day of the week and more just, okay, what's happening on the 1st January, what's happening on like the 18th of January, and the blue dots mark the weekends, so the Saturday and Sundays, just so I can see the progression of what's happening at a glance. So I'll put things like birthdays, anniversaries, big events, and then if I need to get more granular, or I have like several events happening on a day, that's where I'll use my Apple Calendar, or what I'm now addicted to is an app called Fantastical. I will link that down below. They are free to use. It's really colourful. They've got a really nice widget, and it's just really, really sort of pretty to use, but also functional. So this is 4 months to one spread, and then another 4 months up to August, and then the final 4 months up to December. And this I find really useful because I've had this in my 2024 bullet journal, and I come back to it again and again and again. And even though I use a digital calendar, I find it useful to have a pen and paper version, just because I carry this with me. I don't need to be connected to the internet. I don't need to sort of have to worry about charging this, or rather charging my phone. And it's just handy to have. But then again, it's not like I can delete things from here. So there are pros and cons to both processes. Then we get to the goal setting sort of habit tracking section. And I downloaded this from an Etsy shop. I will see if I can find it and then link it down below. I find this really useful as an alternate to goal planners like PowerSheets, Moxie Life, because I can just integrate this into my existing notebook. So what we've got here is daily, weekly, monthly habits, and there's space for up to sort of 6 daily habits, 6 weekly habits, and 5 monthly habits. And then for the notes section, I tend to use that as a sort of encouraging words, or like a favorite quote, just to kind of boost like my motivation, to make me feel inspired, and just to feel a bit more hopeful. And I try and keep it simple. So with daily habits, they're usually things like journaling, drink water, move my body for 10 minutes, listen to an episode of a podcast, small things that I know that I can accomplish, that I also want to build as a habit. And I'm thinking of experimenting with a couple of new ones for 2025. So stay tuned to see what I add to that. Weekly habits tends to be things I want to really integrate into my weekly routine. Things like a weekly evaluation, screen-free time, a weekly weigh-in. And I know plenty of people have an issue when it comes to stepping on the scale and being friends with the scale or throwing the scale in the bin. But for me, I like the metric of weighing myself first thing on a Monday morning. So having that as a weekly habit, I find really helpful, just so that I've got a sort of dashboard for the metrics when it comes to health and fitness. And then monthly habits tends to be the more long-term projects. So if I'm preparing something for Christmas, I will have something Christmas related in the October habit tracker and so on. So this is January, and I've got one for every month of the year, all the way through to December. And then I've got a section called wins. So what I've done here is I've just alternated every other line with a light blue Tombow brush pen, added some stickers from the Happy Planner sticker book, and this is where I will come, as I have been doing for 2024, is where I will put all the different good things that happen. So every day I give myself a target using the habit trackers to identify one win. It can be big, it can be small, it can be internal, external, and it's just to get my brain in the habit of focusing on the good things and really celebrating them. So every day, one line, maybe sometimes even two, I come back to this and I just make sure that I celebrate something. Now I'm just thinking, and I've got my fun list there, I'm just thinking I've got 4 pages. I thought that would be enough for the year, but actually 1 line per day, this will only last a few months. So I might put this as Q1 and then do another one for Q2 to 4. But I'll see how this goes, how long it lasts, and then trial and error it. And I've got the fun list. I like to use fun lists in each journal as a sort of memory jogger. It's like a menu of things I enjoy doing, because sometimes I feel bored, and there's nothing wrong with feeling bored for like small periods of time, but then there are times when I feel really bored and then my brain starts to ruminate and I think, oh I didn't do this yesterday, and I didn't do that the other day, and I forgot this, I'm such an idiot. And I don't like that process of just letting your brain ruminate unnecessarily, because if I'm doing self-coaching or journaling, fine, I can process my feelings, I can work through it. But this is like a menu where I can look at it and be like, okay, I have got a couple of hours free today evening, what do I feel like doing? So I can come and have a look at this and be like, okay, I like having hot drinks, I like spending time with family, I like doing workouts, I like doing workout classes, I like going to the gym, I like content creation. I can look at how much time I've got, how much energy I've got, whether I've got capacity to go and organise something with other people, or whether I've got low energy and I want to do more sort of a pamper session at home. And then I can go and decide what I want to do. So this is just a bit of a sort of a nice thing to have, and I will go back and add words in. I'll see if I can actually put up a photo of the 2024 one so you guys can see as a reference. And then here there's absolutely nothing, because I think it's important to have white space to be able to add other things and then come back to this list maybe at the end of the quarter or the end of the month or even halfway through the year to just adapt it, because there will be things that I no longer like, there'll be new things I'm exploring, and this will kind of evolve as the seasons change. So I'm quite excited to use this. And then we've got the master task list. So this is just a catch-all place for anything that needs to be done, big or small. It can be laundry, it can be content batching, it can be ring my siblings, it can be organise birthday gifts, paint my nails, it can be set up the next bullet journal. Everything and anything taking up space goes here. And it isn't sort of, the point isn't to overwhelm myself, it's just to have a catch-all place in here where I can just dump everything. And I've set it up quite nice and neatly, but I'm not putting pressure on myself to have neat handwriting. It's just I like to have these nice pages to look at. So again, I've used washi tape from the washitapeshop.com, done a bit of bubble writing, and then used a grey Tombow brush pen, sort of marker pen this time. Got three pages set up, potentially space for one more, but as I said, I don't really want to get too overwhelmed, so I've left it at 3 pages at the moment, and I might go back and decorate this, or I might just put quotes, we shall see. So that takes us up to page 55. So this is the front of the bullet journal, and then if we go to the back, we've got a pocket here just for adding lots of bits and pieces. I've stuck a journaling card that says creativity takes courage, and this is from marthabrook.com. This is from an old subscription kit, so I don't think it's available anymore, but I will still link the website so you can go and check out all their other stationery. They've got a lot of good quality stationery from things like pens, postcards, notebooks, folders, and it's just quite a nice collection to have. Inside the pocket, I've just got a few extra bits and pieces. So I've got this, which is from the Digital Higa website, and it's a year in pixels, so I've just got a couple of spare trackers, and then I've also downloaded some extra permission slips from Laurel's website, just so that I can have a bit of a refresh like halfway through the year and so on. And then I've also got an old postcard from Cultivate What Matters. So back in sort of 2016, 2017, when I got my first set of power sheets, this came with it. And I just like to have this as a kind of nostalgic reminder, because the words still have a true sentiment. And it just says, you know, all those things you've always wanted to do, you should go do them. And this quote is pretty much the beginning of where everything started for me in terms of blogging, the coaching business, the YouTube channel, all the sort of content creation, all the creative things that I aspired to do, that I've wanted to do. This postcard and this quote have always kind of been like the sort of starting point. So I like to have this as a sort of reminder of where it all began. And then I've got this sort of list of my skincare routine, just because I'm really fascinated with different skincare products at the moment. So that is just something to remind myself of the different products I'm using, and then if I add anything else into my routine, what else becomes a firm favourite. So that's just a bit of extra stuff. That's the pocket. And then the last few pages of the bullet journal, I've just set up a few things. So this is a list that's titled This Bujo Serves As, and it's more an ad-lib page of things I could use this bullet journal for. So for example, at the front, I had what I actually put in my bullet journals, and then I've got space for other stuff. This is more sort of like an exploration, so I can explore different things I might like to add, and I've got space to sort of keep brainstorming and update it. Then I've got a pen test, which I always add to every journal at the back, just as a reference, because sometimes I use different pens, I try new pens, and I want to see if they bleed through to the back. So for example, here you can see a couple of the dot markers that have come through, the darker colours. Not such a concern because I don't tend to use the dark ones that often, but it's good to know which ones bleed through. And then I've got the brush pens that I mentioned earlier. I might go back and actually add the shade number, just so that I know for reference when I'm looking at them online, because I'm interested in buying a couple of others in sort of pastel shades and also the primary colours. And then I need to add the grayscale ones, because there's an entire pack of 15 brush pens just for grey. I didn't know there were that many grey pens, but it's fascinating. Then I've got Muji gel pens, which are these ones but in different colours, the Crayola Super Tips, and then I've got the Staedtler Tri Plus Red. Sorry, I've got the Staedtler Tri Plus Fine Liners, which you may recognise these colours because they are from the Mood Tracker, and they're quite nice primary colours. So this is just a reference point for all the different pens I use. I've got the Biro that I use all the time, a drawing pen that I don't use that often, but is one that I tend to go back to. But these are like the main pens that I use. I'm thinking if I should add a pencil test, but I don't really use that many different pencils, but we shall see. And then I've got my guide for setting up a bullet journal. So this is all the things I really want to make sure that I have when I'm setting up a bullet journal. And this I actually set up when I first got this journal, before I set up the spreads at the front, so that I can then come here and be like, okay, what do I need to make sure I absolutely set up at the front? Things like the annual calendar, the year at a glance, the wins list are things I want to make sure that I always have at the front, so that it's easy to access and it's just organised. Mood board, less of a thing that has to be at the front, but something I like to add. And then monthly tending lists, again, I only started using them for a few months in 2024, whereas for 2025 I've got them set up at the beginning for the whole year. And then these two are just sort of extra setups, the pen test and the bullet journal setups, which is this page. And if I think of anything else, I'll add them here. Also, if you guys think of anything that you can, and if you guys think of anything that would be good to add to a bullet journal that's being used as a planner, a goal planner, sort of all in one, definitely let me know, because I'm always intrigued to see how else I can use this to sort of maximize efficiency. So that is the full setup of my 2025 bullet journal, and I've got about 100 pages left to use for all the relevant brainstorming, content creation and creativity needs. I may end up starting a second bullet journal for 2025 if this one fills up quickly, but we shall see. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!